We live. You can pull the mic to you.
Yes. Oh, I sound good.
Yeah.
Okay.
You ain't never had on a pair of wavy wings?
Oh, of course. I got a few of them. I just don't talk to myself.
Oh man, what to do? It's Elaborate. We are at MIXNIK. I have a very, very special guest today. Mr. Leslie Brathwaite. Did I say it right?
You said it right.
All right.
Elaborate.
It's a lot of people clapping. I love it.
Oh yeah, man. Flat out. You need it, man. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm doing wonderful.
You're doing wonderful. How's your mental health, man?
My mental health is amazing. I focus on that. I'm big on that, and it just so happens that my wife is actually a therapist. So when you got a live-in therapist,
what?
You know what it really does is it helped. Understanding my wife's profession helped give me language and helped me learn about how important mental health was, certain things, so being married to her kind of really helped me understand how important that was, how big of a deal it was for us to pay attention to our mental health, and even raising our daughters. And again, in the black community, that's something that has always been stigmatized. It's always been looked at as we don't go to therapists and all the things. But I learned from my wife, from her profession, and us as a married couple going to therapy is the best thing ever. And we didn't go because we were about to get divorced or nothing like that. She knew that was a thing that we needed to do. To stay strong as a couple, and it's amazing when you got somebody else refereeing the arguments. It's amazing. So I love counseling.
You recommend it?
Oh, let me tell you, I've been telling every married couple I know, even if y'all ain't got no problems, just go to therapy. Because what it does is it just helps you communicate better. It helps you understand. When my wife is telling me about her day or when my wife is telling me a problem, it ain't my job to fix it. I used to think that I always had to get into how to solve it mode. One of the first things I learned in therapy is when she's telling me a problem, she don't always want you to fix it. Sometimes she just want me to listen.
Nah, come on now.
Hey.
What? Who said that?
Your wife looking at me like,
she want to fix.
Yeah. Sometimes they want you to fix it and sometimes they don't. So me and my wife have developed this language called, when she starts telling me something, I'll be like, babe, bucket or toolbox. And so what that means is, do you want me to fix it or do you want me to just sit here and listen? And you can fill the bucket. Yeah. So bucket or toolbox is how we start conversations.
Yeah, we got a thing called translation. So if I say something and she hear it weird, she'll say translation, this is what you saying.
Right.
And
And that's a technique in therapy. That's literally whenever my wife says something, if it's something that she needs to express, the therapist always says, so Leslie, what did you hear? Yeah. And I have to repeat back to my wife what I heard. Right. Because a lot of times what you say ain't what the person heard. But we going into a whole nother realm. Yeah. But it is important. Mental health is important, especially in our industry, especially in the music industry and entertainment industries. I'm glad you opened up with that question.
Oh, yeah.
It's important.
For sure. I mean, like I told Wayne, you've been talking hertz and megabytes all weekend. I want to be that.
And you know what's the trip is? That's the focus of. So when I teach students, when I talk, even today I was talking about it. Yesterday I was talking about it. I talk about the life stuff more than I talk about the technical
character.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're big on that. I found that out yesterday.
Yes, I went into that whole thing about the CEO that was cheating on his wife and. That stuff matters to me, and I understand it. So I was saying yesterday, for context for the listeners, we were talking about the CEO that got caught on the Jumbotron, and I was talking to some young dudes in the studio the other day, and they couldn't understand why this man got fired because he was cheating on his wife. They couldn't put the two together, and I had to bridge that gap for them. And I told them, I said, look, the people on that board is sitting there looking at, bro, if you can't effectively lead your family, you can't lead our company. Yeah.
The only people who get away with it is the people who own the company.
Absolutely.
But the people, if you own a board or you CEO or COO.
And you seeing that, and it alludes to a conversation I had with a very powerful CEO. I don't want to put him on the spot, but he said he does not do business with men that cheat on their wives. Yeah. And he said, because if the person sleeping next to you can't trust you, I can't either. Yeah. And that stuck with me.
That's been my rule with deadbeats.
Yeah.
Like you can't. If you don't love your kids, dog. Like how you gonna care about me, bro?
Do business with you.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolute character is when I notice major character flaws in people, I stay away.
Yeah,
you got to work on your character, and we're all none of us are perfect, but I always be like, yo, that matters to me more than anything else. That's the reason why I love the clients that I work with that are my main clients. When people always ask me who's my favorite person to work with, I always say Pharrell. It's because of the person he is. It ain't really about his music or that he's popping or X, Y. Oh, that's great. Yeah. But I look at how he is as a father, as a husband. That man is about his family. And I love that.
That's what's up, man. Yeah. I saw a clip where you was talking about keeping your daughters from Cardi B cursing. I need advice. We got 11-year-old. Well, I got 7 kids, but we got an 11-year-old here with us in Atlanta. How do you gauge or like monitor?
So here's the thing to that. Here's how me and my wife decided to parent. It's not that we keep them from it. Okay. What we do is, and so the story that you're talking about is specifically during COVID. My kids were, let's see, my daughters are 16 and 13 now. So during COVID, they were what? Probably 11 and whatever age, 10, 9, 8. Yeah, 11 and 8 at that time, right? So during COVID, everybody's home. They working, they going to school on their laptops in their bedrooms. Right. I'm downstairs. My wife is doing therapy sessions in her room upstairs. And then the first record I get to mix is WAP during COVID. So I listened to the record and I'm like, I can't mix this in the house. So that's why I ended up mixing in my car during COVID, because I was like, okay, I got to go out to the car. There's no way I'm going to let the girls hear this. So here's the thing. So with that, it's not that we're trying to keep them from the stuff they hear on the streets and, you know, Pound Town and all these records. Yeah. It's, I got to be able to give them context first. I got to be able to talk to them first. We talk through those things. Okay. So I just didn't want to start off COVID with my 11-year-old and 8-year-old hearing WAP. That just wouldn't have been cool. So what's funny is, so I mix WAP in the car. They asked me why I was mixing in the car. I explained to them, hey, I'm mixing some records, and you know how Daddy always says there's records that are adult and da-da-da. Cool. A few months later when WAP comes out, my 11-year-old, I think at the time when we had this conversation, she was probably like 12 or 13. She came home one day and she was like, Daddy, I just found out what WAP means. She was so mad at me, and I was like, man. Hey man, it be. But I also, so I have those conversations because it opens up the conversations of, look, Cardi B is an adult. She can express herself how she wants. I have certain limitations. Sexual things are not part of my limitations. As long as you don't devil worship, you know, that's where I draw the line. If your music got any kind of devil worship or anything that is a little too ridiculous, like you know, talking about raping young girls, anything just ridiculously crazy, I won't be a part of it. But if you want to talk about your vagina and every other thing that you want to talk about in a very explicit way, you know, sex ain't a crime, and, you know, it's all good. So, again, that's her choice. But, you know, I do have my moral compasses, but what Cardi B talks about don't really affect, you know, me like that. And I just try to talk to them about what's appropriate and what's, you know. And if you raise your kids and guide your kids the right way, you know, they're going to be exposed. They're going to see it, hear it in public. They both go to public school now. They went to private school most of their young lives. Okay. They're going to hear all the things.
Why the switch?
We just wanted to give them a foundation in private school. They went to a Spanish immersion school, so they're both bilingual. That's and then when crazy. They got to 7th grade, we put them in public school because we don't want them to view the world from a place that the world does not exist. And if you stay in private school your whole life, there's parts of, and it's not like I'm trying to make them tough or street. I'm just trying to give them a different element of the world don't work.
It's a 360 of the world.
Yeah, the world don't work like you work in private school. Yeah. So public school exposes you to, there's some kids out here that's going to want to steal your little cell phone. And there's some, you know, girls out here that's going to talk about you. And you got to learn how to maneuver in those situations. You got to learn how to choose friends, all the things.
And it's humbling for them because they realize everybody don't have like I have. Like in private school, everybody got it like you got it.
Yeah.
In public, it ain't like that.
They learn so much. And I remember one of the first experiences my oldest had. She got on that bus. She came home. She said, "Daddy," she said, "the bus is so ratchet. They be fighting." She was so annoyed, but I wanted, and we both wanted them to understand that that's how the world is. You're gonna be in environments that you don't like how people act, or you know, and it's about your character and how you know. Yeah. So it's interesting that to hear them conversations. Even now, they still be coming home like, "Daddy, our school is so ghetto. They be fighting." Yeah.
The Zeus Network up there. Huh? Another thing I saw. 2 more things. What are the things that an artist needs to pay attention to that advances their careers you were talking about in the studio?
I think one of the key things artists need to do to advance, it's funny, I met a young lady yesterday in the room across the hall, the warm audio room, and her name was Jade. She was singing, and I was like, "Your voice sounds phenomenal, da-da-da." And then I was instructing her in the room. The point of the room was for her to try out different microphones. Okay. And I said, "I like that microphone that you're on. It sounds warmer." So we get out in the hallway, we start talking. I was like, "Yeah, the other mic sounded a lot more warmer, da-da-da." And she was like, "Why are you talking to me in terms of temperature? I don't know what you mean." And I was like, "Oh, warmer means more low end, da-da-da." And she says to me something that's so key that I wish so many artists would say. And she said, "Thank you for that. And the thing is, there's a lot of things I don't know about audio, about my career, and I just want to be able to discern when I'm hearing the right thing and the right advice to follow." And she said all these things, and I was like, I wish every artist would think like that. Yeah. Where it's about, artistry is an interesting thing because you see yourself a certain way, but part of this process is a producer or somebody else seeing you and be able to say, "Oh, let me bring that out of you. Yeah. Let me get you to a place that this is palatable for the public and for a large audience." And a lot of artists fight that. Artists fight everything about the things that make them great. Like most artists I've ever worked with, they fight their biggest hits. Most artists will tell you they don't like. I can go back to Toni Braxton. She hated "Unbreak My Heart." Straight up? Hated it. Jeezy hated "Put On" when he first heard it. What? Chingy hated, I can go on and on of artists that hated some of their biggest hits. That's crazy. And it's funny, I even heard stories like that. I remember Diane Warren was telling a story about Aerosmith and how they hated that song that she wrote for them for the Armageddon movie. They hated that record. Yeah. Couldn't stand that record. That was their biggest hit. That was their biggest record? Biggest record. That's crazy. Yeah. So, but what that speaks to is this thing that I wish artists had, or not that I wish they had it. I just wish a lot of artists had the sensibility to say, I don't have a certain perspective, and there's certain things that other people can see that I can't, and let me yield to that. Let me yield to, if a top-notch producer comes in here and says, "That's your hit," let me go with that. Yeah. Let me try that. They fight it so much, and I'll just be like, "Yo, stop fighting Yeah. Is it the creative in him, or is it? I think it's just it's a human thing. It's. I always tell people, like, if you will never be able to see yourself how I see you. You can look in a mirror, you can hold another mirror up, all the things. You will never be able to see yourself the way I see you. That's what's up. And so that's the problem with an artist, is they see themselves a certain way, and they don't realize that there's somebody else with a gift that can see things in them that they can't see in themselves. It's no different from that kindergarten teacher or that first grade teacher or that seventh grade teacher that saw something in you that you couldn't see in yourself. It's the same thing, and it's hard for them to understand that. So how long you been married? My wife and I we got married in 2014. We have known each other since 2004. Okay. So, and when I say that, people be like, "It took you 10 years to marry her?" It was like, we were friends, and there was evolution to our relationship. Yeah. But we had kids before we got married. Okay. We had one kid before we got married. Kinda. Okay. Yeah. But same 10. Yeah. Yeah. How was she receptive of you being in the studio in the long hours? So here's the thing with that. Okay. When I met my wife, I was, well into my career, and what I noticed early on that I felt like was a big deficiency where a lot of people didn't do is, and I even talked about it yesterday, where one of the things I admire about Wavy and his wife is I never see Wavy without his wife.
Yeah.
I always see them together, always see them moving together, that kind of thing. So I noticed early on in our friendship and our relationship when we started dating, it was about inviting her into my world. And so my wife, she's a therapist, so she used to see clients and she would have to do a bunch of detailed notes about the sessions. She would come to the studio and do her notes. She would be sitting on the couch doing her notes while I'm mixing.
Okay.
A lot of our date nights was us in the studio, her doing her work, me mixing. We take a break, we eat.
Yeah.
She go back to do her work on the couch and I'm sitting at the board mixing. That was how we dated.
That's dope.
And so she understood my life. She saw my life. She saw how I conducted myself. And so I think early on, my wife never had a problem with my studio life. And it's because of who I like. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do none of the typical things. So my wife was very comfortable with who I was. And then she saw how I moved in the studio. And so that was never a problem in our marriage.
Okay.
Yeah, that was never the issue.
That's great.
The problem in our marriage, I'm going to tell you what the problem in our marriage became. It was never the studio dynamic.
Okay.
What became the problem in our marriage, which a lot of marriages go through, when we had kids and they were young, and a lot of the burden of the child care fell on my wife because I'm out here getting it. I'm grinding. I'm in the studio working. And then something that happens in a man's brain when we have kids, we feel like we got to go extra hard. Yeah. And so now I'm spending more time in the studio. Now I'm taking more gigs out of town. Now I'm really trying to hustle. I'm trying to get with Pharrell and I'm trying to do this and da-da-da. And my wife is at home feeling unsupported and all the things. And so, and then there are things that that are part of life. Like my wife dealt with postpartum. She dealt with, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of hormones going on and body changes and all that. And then my wife got to deal with the kids, and then she's dealing with the brunt of things, and she got to take them to this and pick them up from this, and I'm working, and I love my job. So my life looks amazing. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's one thing if you hate your job.
You're doing what you love.
Yeah, but I love my job. So that also didn't help. And we discovered that in therapy. Like, that didn't help either. Like, I'm coming home, like, off a trip working with Beyonce in France. And her story for the week is she took the kids to soccer and cheer, the human side of that, and I see a lot of marriages go through that, where that imbalance kicks in. And I heard Michelle Obama talk about that. And so what it takes is a heavy dose of counseling sometimes, and just the perspective of we not always going to be 50-50. Yeah, the contributions are different. Yeah. So even though, yes, you have the brunt, and I had to make my wife aware of this in therapy. Mind you, she's a therapist, so that's the other thing that's funny about it. How you go to
therapy with a therapist?
Man.
Like, that's like double trouble, dog. Man. That's like a setup. I ain't gonna lie.
Therapy, like, ain't you a therapist? Don't you know this? Like, you know. But the thing of it is, I had to get her to see is, yes, it feels like you have the heavier lift. Right. Because you tired and you got to take the kids and then you got to hear them complaining about da-da-da, and I'm out here just loving my life. Yeah. But here's the thing. I have a different kind of burden. I don't get to tell you we can't pay the rent this month. Okay. I don't get to tell you we can't pay for private school. In my mind, I can't come home and tell you I can't provide. Yeah. So that's a different kind of burden too. Right. And I'm not saying it's not always equal. There are times when things shift. And so that was the toughest part of our marriage to get through, is when the kids were young, when they required a lot of care, and my wife was the one doing most of that while I was out getting it. Right. So
once they got older, did you get back into it?
Yeah, and to be honest with you, what really balanced out our marriage and our household a lot was COVID, because I was still in work mode a lot, even though things had gotten a lot better and perspective gets different, and counseling the whole nine. Kids get older, so they don't need as much care and all the things. But COVID really forced me, and here's what COVID did. COVID reset our industry to where a lot of people didn't want to come to the studio no more. Working from home became cool. Working from home became my norm. And then I started realizing the things I used to tell myself wasn't true. So before COVID, I would tell you, if somebody said, why don't you work from home? I'd be like, I can't work from home. My kids would be a distraction. My wife would be asking me to do 50 million things. All the honey-do list would be crazy. Like, all the things.
Right.
What I realize is the exact opposite, which is at the studio is where I wasted so much time. Because here's the thing. At the studio, I can have 50 conversations about audio, about kick drums, about, me and Guru just now downstairs talking for like 45 minutes. At home, I don't have those distractions.
Right.
Don't nobody want to talk to me about what I'm doing. They don't care about what I'm doing. What they care about is when you going to finish mixing so you can sit on this couch and watch Moana with us or Frozen 50 million times.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So that's what I realized is working from home forced me to get my work done quicker. Then it forced me into a pattern because I would have to get a lot of my mixing done before they come home from school, so I'm not making a bunch of noise in the house and da-da-da. And it forced me into a rhythm that I actually kind of liked.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I kind of like this. So all the stuff I was fighting before, I didn't have to fight. After COVID, I started realizing, and then I started realizing I do like being around my family more than anything else because I'm an introvert. I don't like being around a ton of people.
Yeah.
So I started realizing, like, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't like being in the studio because all them dudes be smoking all the time. I kind of like this. Yeah. And my family don't get on my nerves at home. And this is actually amazing. So, and my wife, at first she was a little annoyed. She was like, so it took COVID to make you realize you want to be at home more? And I'm like, no, things shifted in the industry. Working from home was cooler. But she also was like, you know what? I really like having you here more. Just knowing you're in the other room. It's a, So COVID, I would attribute to the real shift in how we move as a family. And me specifically working from home and liking it and wanting to work from home. Now I don't want to work anywhere else but home.
What with COVID in the industry switching, how much do you think people lose in this the sending of music?
Well,
online?
you know what's interesting. COVID had a lot of positive shifts in my world. I don't know that that's the same for a lot of people. I'm gonna give you an example. Before COVID, quite a few artists would take forever to get their songs done. Soon as COVID kicked in, I'm talking about the first 3 weeks, everybody ain't had nothing to do but finish their songs. So all of a sudden,
they were sending them through.
I got Pharrell calling me going, hey, got 8 Rihanna records ready to mix. And then I got Craig Calvin from Atlanta going, hey, we got WAP and a couple other Cardi B songs ready to mix.
Straight up.
They ain't had nothing else to do.
Wait, Rihanna got 8 songs?
Rihanna got a bunch of songs that the world would probably never hear. But one of the things we mixed during COVID was some Pharrell records.
Is it hot? Is heat? Fire. She needs to drop it, man.
So fire.
Do you think she gonna drop it?
Nah. I've learned that probably part of her process is I just want to do music.
She love music.
I want to be creative, but she's so much more successful with her brand, with Fenty, and that creates a lot of freedom for her.
Yeah.
And she's a mother now, and so
having control of your life is a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing. I can't knock her for it. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing.
But all the artists were getting their work done. They were sending all the songs. Cardi couldn't go to the club and she couldn't go out, so she finished all her records. So it was, again, a lot of positive things that came out of that. Yeah.
I guess technically, how much gets lost in the sending of it in the internet?
Oh, none.
None?
No, none. No, the technology has advanced to the point where the way we send files, the way we receive files, the way we send mixes, it's all good. It's the exact same as if I'm sending it over a wire to the mastering engineer that's in the next room. It's all good.
What do you use, man?
What do I
tried
use?
to send some video files and I had to,
Oh, you had to compress them and da-da-da.
And man, I had to cut the fire on YouTube so the computer would stay on.
Right.
You got
so with us, when we're sending high capacity files, it's usually server to server connection. So it's literally a machine in one room in LA, a machine in my room in Atlanta that are talking to each other that don't have to go through a network. They literally are directly linked to each other. No,
so
no satellites, no nothing.
You literally plugged in.
Yeah.
It's straight up, man.
Yeah.
What are some things that you want to do in the future other than engineering the music?
Well, for me, the future is kind of happening now. So I'm a part of a couple different companies that started from, there's this saying or thing in the Bible that talks about your gifts will make room for you.
For sure.
And so from music and having the heart to teach and go back to my university, Full Sail University, and teach and mentor and all the things, I developed a good relationship with the founder. His name is John Phelps. And then the vice president, his name is Matt Pengra. And the three of us, we're best friends. We formed an amazing relationship over the past 15 years. And then we started kind of joining forces, and it was more of like me and Matt becoming part of John's company. So he had a coffee company out in Seattle. It was the #1 company in Seattle. It's called Storyville. And then that merged into a deal with Walmart. So now we have, and we're part of that company now, and we have stores called Future Bean Coffee in 3 Walmarts right now, 2 in Florida, 1 in Franklin, Tennessee, which is south of Nashville. We're building a 4th one in Bentonville, which is the home of Walmart.
Okay.
And then that relationship morphed into Walmart going, hey, we like you guys, and you guys do studios. Y'all ever thought of putting a studio in a Walmart?
I saw a studio in the Walmart.
And we were like, yo. And then we had the meeting. We came up with the plan, the idea, So we have a thing called Created Studios. That's it's right now, the first one is in Franklin, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And so that particular Walmart is going to have all 3 of our businesses. I'll tell you about the 3rd business in a second.
Okay.
So the Created Studios is simply just a place for people to come to kind of all the neighborhoods and communities that Walmart serves to expose kids to this kind of culture and access and technology in a way they would have never got before.
For sure.
And so we came up with the concept. Kids can just walk in there. If your mom decides she want to shop in Walmart for 2 hours, you come on in here and learn about Pro Tools or learn about so-and-so, and it's free. We don't charge. And there's a thing about the business model and how it works. But and then the 3rd business we have is an esports arena inside of a Walmart. We took over, there was a 21 existing locations of a business that was previously in Walmart that tried to do an esports kind of arcade thing, but they just didn't do it right. The relationship wasn't great with Walmart, so we took over those. So we have 21 of those that we're building out right now.
Wow.
We have, and then the potential for the coffee shops and the creative studios is in the thousands.
Man. Congratulations, man. Flat out.
Thank you.
You talking very heavy.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
So those are the other things I'm involved with. Just my gifts making way for things to happen. It's nothing I forced, nothing I pushed to be a part of. It's just my gifts made way for me to be a part of certain things, and I love it.
You a coffee guy?
I do drink coffee pretty much every day.
I'm a coffee guy too.
Yep.
Is the coffee fire?
It is fire. It's absolutely fire. I gotta say,
straight up.
Yeah, it's literally his process, and his coffee company in Seattle is called Storyville Coffee. It's the same process and everything. We just named it Future Bean for Walmart, but his company Storyville in Seattle is the #1 coffee company in Seattle, and that's hard to do because Seattle is like, they're the coffee like snobs out there. So, yeah.
Do you ever see Leslie not mixing?
No. What I see Leslie doing is not mixing all the YNs.
Okay.
I've started to kind of back off of accepting every single client and working with everybody. I like my little bougie clientele. Like I mix for a lot of Pharrell's records. I mix some Beyonce records. Yeah. I mix some Cardi B stuff. I mix, I like my bougie little client list. I'm cool. Like,
straight up. How many sessions do you turn down?
That's a good question. I don't turn down a lot, but there have been some. I actually, not gonna lie, I just turned the session down this morning.
Wow.
So, I just didn't have the time. I got a lot of stuff to mix for Pharrell by August 1st, and I just don't want to overcommit myself. And I used to be that guy. I used to be the guy that'd be like, I ain't turning down nothing. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna burn out. I'm gonna do every single mix I could possibly do.
For sure.
That was when I was in that new kid mode.
Yeah.
And wanted to make sure I was grinding and getting everything I can. And then what I realized is, and again, this goes back to the character piece and the life piece. What I realized is I said this to my nephews the other day. My brother passed away, so he had 4 boys, and I was talking to him the other day, and I told him, I used to have a lot of things about life backwards. And I used to think it was my job to provide for my family. And we say that, and we say, the man provides that. And what I realized is, for me at least, I had a come to Jesus moment, literally, and I realized my job is not to provide. My job is to be a good husband and a good father. Mm-hmm. It is his job to provide. I ain't got it. Out. So once I really understood that, what I realized is all of the hustling and running on the treadmill and trying to mix every single record and trying to get all the money, that was wasted effort. And when I started focusing on the quality of the people I was working with, I made more money. I make more money now than I made when I was mixing a ton of records all the time. Wow. Because it's the quality of the person and the client and the thing. Yeah. So when you make room for the good and you say, hey, you know what? I don't want to mix that. I don't like how you move. Yeah. I don't want to mix that. You move with too many YNs. I don't know what half of them dudes be doing.
They trying to give me in the Rico.
Yeah. And y'all got guns and all this in the session. I'm cool. So when you start weeding all that out, it makes room for the Pharrells and the so-and-so. And then I make more money mixing with the small little clientele list that I got, because it's a real powerful list.
Oh, yeah. Very powerful list.
Ain't nobody questioning my invoice when I send it in to Beyonce and them. Nobody's hitting me with the, hey, man, we're at the end of our budget, and can you mix it for this instead of, ain't nobody doing that when you send your invoice to Beyonce. It's whatever. They pay whatever you send.
Wow.
So that's a different place that I've gotten to where I realized I don't got to worry about providing. He provides for me. Yeah. All I got to do is be a good father, be a good husband, be a good person.
Yeah.
It'll all work out.
That's a gem. Can an engineer learn how to be an engineer online? Would you recommend that, or would you recommend SAE or a Full Sail?
You can. I think there are certain valuable tools that you learn in a physical environment, like SAE, like a Full Sail, like a Berkeley. There are physical things that I think help enhance your general knowledge of the craft. And what I always tell people is, a lot of young people focus on learning gear. I say, don't learn the gear, learn the craft, because the gear changes. The things we use, the computers, the technology, the drum machines, the programs, all those things evolve. But the craft is still the craft. Right. And so when you learn on a board and the physical environments of how, when you have the tactile learning of how things work, that translates to any online piece of gear, Can you learn this craft online? Yes. Can you learn it in the best possible way? Probably not.
Flat out. Yeah. Let's end with a wild studio story. I feel like the people telling me, like, ask them about a wild studio story.
I have so many of those.
Give me one. And I heard you say you was with Beyonce and friends too. That didn't grasp by me. I got that.
Yeah. I got that. I can't tell you any Beyonce studio story.
I know you can't tell me those,
because we on the NDA with her.
Yeah, so. I know you can't tell me none.
But I have so many wild stories from the 90s.
Okay, let's go.
And I'm gonna try to think of one that I can tell that's politically correct.
Yeah, we don't want to incriminate nobody.
That's okay. And usually I gravitate to a Bobby Brown story, because he has made a fool enough of himself that any story I tell ain't doing him no disservice.
Oh, yeah.
I love Bobby.
Yeah.
I'll tell this story. So when I first started interning in Atlanta, there were 2 studios I interned at. I interned at DARP Studios, which is Dallas Austin Recording Projects. And I interned, at the time it was called Bosstown. It was owned by Bobby Brown. It later became Stankonia. OutKast bought that building, and that became Stankonia Studios.
Okay.
But it was Bosstown. And before it was Bosstown, it used to be owned by Elton John.
What?
So Bobby Brown bought that building from Elton John. So Bosstown, so I'm interning at DARP, I'm interning at Bosstown. All of my wildest stories, I probably got about 8 million wild stories. All of my wildest stories came from interning at Bosstown. So I'll tell you one. So this is at this point, I'm an engineer. I'd already worked my way up. This is a couple years in. Bobby sold Bosstown to OutKast. Mm-hmm. So it became Stankonia. So this is years later now. We're sitting in Stankonia mixing. And how the mixing usually worked is it's usually just me and Andre 3000. Big Boy hardly ever came to the mix sessions. Like he'll come in for like a half hour every night, crack a bunch of jokes, and then go to the club. Like he wasn't really into the mixing process. He just swung through. He'll crack a lot of jokes, and then him and his entourage will go to the club. Right. Me and Andre will sit there and mix. So one night, sitting there mixing, and there was these, right outside of the studio, there's these glass doors that lead to the outside. And every now and then, you would hear keys jiggling at the door, fumbling with the door, and it would be Bobby, high or drunk, still thinking he owns the studio. So he would be out there fidgeting with the keys, and we would be just like...
And this happened on several occasions?
Several occasions. But this story I'm telling you, this was the first time it happened, right? Okay. So we like, yo, what's going on out there? And then we kind of could see somebody, and we're like, so at first, Andre goes, hey, man, call, dude up front, security. We think somebody trying to mess with the door. Mm-hmm. They look on the camera, and they realize it's Bobby. Security goes out there to talk to him. He comes in. He walks in. And Bobby's the kind of like high / and or drunk that, those kind of people who it's better off if you just try to not entertain them so they could go home. Mm-hmm. Like if you have too much interaction with Bobby, he's staying all night. So the best course of action is let him run through whatever it is he's trying to talk about, and then just quietly, so he comes in, we sitting there mixing, he goes, oh, I need to get on that track. And he literally just walks in the booth, and we're both sitting there like, let's just record him so he can go home. Because if you try to tell him, nah, Bobby, you ain't getting on this track, then it's an argument. Then you don't want that. So I've had so much experience with him because I was an intern. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of coaching like Andre, like, bro, let's just turn the mic on, push record so he could leave. Cool. He goes in the booth, he records. Big Boy comes. They have all the, wild, da-da-da, I'm going to the club, okay, da-da-da. So then Big Boy leaves, and Bobby's still there. So he's in the corner of the room, in the back of the room, facing the corner. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking he's probably rolling a blunt or something, and he don't want nobody to see what he's doing. Right. Had no clue what he was doing. There's a ramp in the room because the room had to be ADA compliant because it was so big and it had different layers. You had to have a ramp in your studio at that point. So all of a sudden, we sitting there at the board, and then I see some liquid rolling down the ramp. Mm-hmm. And I'm like,
oh, no.
And I look back, and I see Bobby in the corner, and I'm like, is he peeing in the studio?
Oh, man.
I couldn't believe it.
Oh, man.
Couldn't believe it. He literally peed in the studio.
Oh, my God. Yeah, he was messed up.
That happened.
He was messed up. Did he lay something down?
Oh, we erased it immediately. Like, as soon as he came in, we erased that.
That's how Bobby probably laid down that heat. Yeah, I was hating.
He did not lay down that heat.
Bobby laid down that heat. Y'all erased Bobby bars, man.
I'm here to let you know he absolutely did not lay down that heat.
Bobby smoked that, man.
Yeah, so we was just like,
oh, man.
True story.
Thank you for coming through, man. This is Leslie Brathwaite, everybody. Super important in music, legendary man. Got a lot of records. We can't even talk about all of them. Tell them where to find you at and where to reach out to you.
The beautiful thing about me is you really can't find me. I don't go out. I don't go to industry functions. I don't go to parties. I don't go to strip clubs.
You be ducked off.
I'm an introvert. I be what we like to call out the way. I be out the way. I be at home with my family. There's 3 places I'm usually at. I'm either in a studio, at home, or on vacation.
Okay.
Literally, that's where I be at. So,
favorite vacation spot.
Favorite vacation spot. And we got one coming up, but it's Greece. Me and my wife fell in love with Greece.
Yeah, we want to go.
Greece is
it's on the list. It's amazing.
Greece is amazing in every way possible. The food, the people, the weather, the beaches. I can go on and on.
The views.
Favorite place. Views. So what me and my wife are doing in a couple of weeks, actually, we go in the end of August, going on a cruise. We fell in love with Virgin Voyages.
Okay.
All adult cruise, no kids. It's amazing. Best food at sea. And so we did the same cruise last year. It leaves Athens, it goes to Santorini, it goes to Rhodes, it goes to Buderim, and then it overnights in Mykonos.
Okay. And
then back to Athens.
Okay.
So favorite vacation spot by far is Greece.
Now let me know, do I need to drop this after you come back from vacation? Because I don't want them to be there showing up trying to ask you engineering questions on the south of Greece.
It's all good. They ain't gonna know where to find me.
All right, man. Thank you. It's an honor to talk to you, man.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And keep doing what you're doing, man.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you for having me.